What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we've got what you've been waiting for. Busa versus ZX14. You guys have asked for it 1,000 times. Finally, we're going to do a video reviewing the Hayabusa and the ZX14 on what makes a better drag bike. I'm also going to reveal the choice of the GSX-R1000 that I chose between the black and white versus the black on black. And we've got some parts for our Pro Street build have came in. We're going to open those up, go over them. And I've also got a special surprise at the end of the video. I'm going to be unveiling part 2, bike number 2 of our new project channel bike. I got another new toy, and we're going to be going over that and showing you what's going on with it. All right, guys, here we go. Stay with us. All right, guys, here we go. Look what we got. Special box from DME Racing. Our swing arm has arrived for our Pro Street. We're gonna open this up, check it out, and show you guys what we got.
This is a special swing arm. You may or may not have ever seen one like this before. This is going on Big Country's Turbo Hayabusa. With that, him being a heavier rider and the bike making crazy power, the arm has to be braced up a lot more than a normal swing arm. Alright, guys, here we go. We're going to open this up. New swing arm. This is way different from a normal swing arm. I'll put this right here. DME does an excellent job packaging all this stuff, as you can see. Alright, so this is what we call a club foot swing arm. So this is your normal part of your swing arm where it bolts on here, and then this is going to go on the outside of the frame. So basically, the arm, the way it's designed, is going to come like this, and then that's where that extra brace attaches on. It'll come out here, and then it's going to attach right here as well. So we've got a special nut here, basically going to bolt on there, and then the swing arm will bolt on out here as well. And what this does is this braces the arm, makes the bike go a lot straighter. When you got crazy power like this bike is going to have, this bike will be making north of 800 horsepower. And with that much power and that heavy of a total package, in other words, a Hayabusa and all Big Country's groceries, takes a lot to make the bike go straight, to brace it up. Now this arm will be going for powder coat. Once we get everything mounted, we'll get it all assembled first, then take it back apart and have everything powder coat. So I just wanted to show you that. Now, we're going to get into the good part of the video, and we're going to talk about the ZX14 and Hayabusa.
All right, guys, so here we go. We've got a 2019 Hayabusa, brand spanking new, and we've got a 2016 ZX14. Now, both of these bikes, even though the years are different, this is still the current configuration of these two motorcycles. So this is actually a pre-owned bike. It's got 1,000 miles on it. This particular one has Yoshimura slip-ons on it. This is just one we had sitting on the showroom, and we're going to be using it for an example. The Hayabusa is 100% bone stock. It's brand new. It's never even been started. And so we're going to go over, I've got a little cheat sheet here that we're going to go over some different aspects, okay? So first things first, the ZX14 is 1,441 cc's from the factory. The Hayabusa is 1,340 cc's from the factory. So there is a 100 cc difference, 101 actually, cc's difference between the two bikes. Now, these two bikes make approximately 175 horsepower for the Hayabusa, and approximately 190 horsepower for the ZX14 in a bone stock configuration. Just take them out of the box, let them get broke in, run them, you know, about 175 on a Busa, about 190 on a ZX14. Now, if you do exhaust and a tune on the Busa, you're looking about 185 to 190. On the same modifications to the ZX14, exhaust and tune on one of those, you're looking at 200 horsepower. Some of them make 205. Some of the Busas make 185 to 190. So no matter how you look at it, the ZX14 is a good solid 15 horsepower more no matter what. So put a check mark in the column for the ZX14 on the horsepower category. Okay, the next thing is the weight of the two motorcycles. Almost the same weight for both bikes. The wet weight is what we're comparing. Dry weight, basically the same thing. But either way, there's 7 pounds difference from the ZX14 to the Hayabusa. The Hayabusa is 7 pounds lighter than a ZX14. So realistically, even though the Busa is a tiny bit lighter, the horsepower of the ZX14 still gives it a little bit of the upper hand. The next thing is the traction control system on a ZX14. A ZX14 has the KTRC, which is Kawasaki traction control. That traction control system gives the ZX14 another check mark as far as an advantage goes. The Hayabusa does not have traction control. It has the ability to turn the power up and down, but it does not have traction control system. So once again, the ZX14 wins that battle. The next thing is the clutch. The ZX14 has probably the best clutch of any factory motorcycle there is. As far as drag racing goes, the clutch on it is super smooth and will hold super good power from the factory. If you do a clutch mod from someone like Brock Davidson, that Brock's clutch mod makes it even smoother for engagement. The Hayabusa has a very good clutch. The clutch plates actually will interchange, so you can actually put clutch plates from a Hayabusa into a ZX14 and vice versa. Now the thickness of the clutch plates is a little different, but you can still, you know, kind of mix and match and make it work. One would interchange with another for different racing applications depending on how you wanted to set it up. So let's talk about the good things that I guess you would say where the Hayabusa beats the ZX14. A Hayabusa, you can put spark plugs in it in about 30 minutes. A ZX14 is going to take approximately an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if the bike is hot. This bike is it's way more difficult to work on. So the fairings are much harder to take off. The spark plugs are much harder to change. The frame rail on a ZX14 goes up and over the motor, where a Hayabusa, the frame rail runs along beside the motor. So in order to work on a Hayabusa, you lift the gas tank up and you can access the whole top of the engine. A ZX14, it does not work like that. The frame rail runs right here along this gas tank line. And so you take this fairing off, and then basically all this is the frame rail under this. So in order to do spark plugs, you have to take this side parent panel off and wedge your hand in here and, you know, do the spark plugs all from this side. So if the engine is hot, you either have to wait or burn your hand. One of the two. It's not an easy job putting spark plugs in one. It's not an easy job cleaning injectors. I mean, there's just a lot of things that this thing is a real booger to work on. A Busa, super easy to work on. Next thing is the availability of parts. The Busa has been the same configuration since 2008. So there are tons of aftermarket parts out there. There are tons of pre-owned parts out there, tons of used parts. So if you need something at the racetrack, tons of Busa stuff, a lot of 14 stuff as well, but you're just gonna be able to find any and everything for a Busa. So when you're racing and possibly tearing stuff up, that makes a big difference. The next thing is the way the engine is built. So a Hayabusa engine, I'm gonna use this one over here in the floor for example, is a 3-piece design motor. In other words, you have the cases, upper and lower case, which is the same on every bike, and then you have a separate cylinder here. So this piece here is considered the cylinder. That's where the pistons are, okay? This is the cylinder head, this is the cylinder, and then this down here is upper and lower case. On a ZX14, it's made like a GSX-R 1000 and basically every other motorcycle in the world. This right here is your cylinder head at the very top. Yeah, you can't hardly see because we got this is where the head separates, and then this right here would be considered your cases. So the cylinder on a Hayabusa is all built into the cases on a ZX14 and a GSX-R 1000. So it's a 1-piece design. So what that means is if you were having a race bike and you burn up a piston or something like that, now you have to disassemble the whole entire engine and send the cases off to have them repaired. With the Hayabusa, you can pull the head off, pull the cylinder off, replace, 1, 2, 3, or 4 pistons, whatever you need, bore the cylinder or replace the cylinder and bolt it back together. Your main bearings, rod bearings, none of that stuff ever have to be touched, which makes the bike a million times quicker to repair. We've actually had a Hayabusa, maybe something breaks in it and we can actually tear it down at the racetrack and put pistons in it if need to be, or it's just the repairs are much easier. So that's one of the things that makes the Busa a lot better in my opinion. When it comes to making big horsepower, the Hayabusa definitely will hold up better. The design of that engine will hold up much better making big power. And by big, I'm talking about 500 plus horsepower. On a Hayabusa naturally aspirated, you can make, if you wanted to do just a naturally aspirated engine, you can make anywhere from 275 to, there's been claims of over 300 horsepower on a naturally aspirated engine. To where with the ZX14, I think around 250, 260, somebody might have squeezed 270, but that's it on a naturally aspirated configuration. Well, if you have some of the big nitrous bikes, they're gonna make 250 on a Hayabusa naturally aspirated, and then they may take a 250 or 300 shot on top of the 250 horsepower they have. So that's like what Big Country has over there, the American flag bike. That bike makes 250, 260 on motor, all naturally aspirated, and then he has over 300 horsepower worth of nitrous on the bike. So that bike is making 550 to close to 600 horsepower in that engine. A ZX14, they'll take a lot of nitrous, but they're going to be more temperamental. The life is going to be much shorter, just due to the fact of the engine not having the capabilities of going as big as a Hayabusa. You can get a Hayabusa close to 1800 cc's, to where with a ZX14, I think they got some in the 1700s now, almost 1700s. But either way, the lifespan goes down a lot when you go to that engine. All right, so let's go over here and review the board one more time and talk about what I think is the ultimate winner of this category. And I wrote on here winner, and I wrote street and track. And I should have wrote street bike and track bike, because you can make a ZX14 a excellent track bike. Don't get me wrong, but it's still gonna be in a street style configuration. If when it comes to an ultimate track bike, you know, cut frame rails, track only, huge motor, tons of nitrous, I'm gonna say the Hayabusa is the winner when it comes to a street style bike, meaning whether you just want to go for a highway roll on, you know, you want to go to the track in a street strip configuration, it's really hard to beat the ZX14. I think the ZX14 wins at the street. The Busa is the ultimate track bike. My favorite bike, period, is a Hayabusa. If I have one that I have to pay the bill on and I'm gonna do all the riding and rebuilding and everything that goes into the bike, Busa is my favorite. I like riding them all, but that right there is my favorite out of all of them. All right, for those of you who have been wondering, I'm sure you've probably already seen it in the background over there, but as far as the 2020 1000 goes, I chose the GSX, the black on black GSX-R 1000. You see, I've already done a few things. I've got the mirrors off. I've ordered the mirror block offs. They should be here any day now. We got the carbon fiber More Mafia stickers on it. I'm waiting on the flush mount turn signals to come in. I've got the swing arm on order. I have not ordered the exhaust yet. I'm still waiting to decide what I want to do on exhaust. You guys keep putting your recommendations and comments in the comments below. I definitely am looking into several different ones, and I have not made any dyno pulls on it. I did lower it with the HTP lowering links, and I have, like I said, I've just been still working with getting it broke in. I have not lowered it yet, but, or I mean, I'm sorry, I have not ran it on the dyno yet. I've just got it on here, letting the fan cool it off, getting it hot and cold. But anyways, on to, I guess you would say, the big news, the new bike for the channel. This is the second bike that we're going to be adding on for the 2020 race season. And that bike is going to be for the super sport class. They're building a new class starting next year. It's going to be called Super Sport. And the idea behind the class is you got to have basically a stock motorcycle. You cannot extend the swing arm. You cannot add an air shifter. You can't change the battery. Everybody has to run the same fuel. You can lower it, exhaust, tune it, and that's pretty much it. Change your sprockets, little small things like that. No aftermarket shocks, no crazy modifications. It's basically a riders only class. Well, the bike that I chose is sitting right there, guys. That's right, that's my 2016 ZX14 Special Edition. It's in the matte black, I guess you would say, or carbon black color. This is gonna be my new toy. We're gonna put an exhaust system on this bike. Getting rid of the slip-ons, of course. I'm gonna be putting a lowering kit, lowering it down, and we're actually looking to take it to the track this weekend. I've got a few parts on order. Adam's Performance hooked us up and got us helped out with the quick shipping. All that stuff should be here tomorrow. And we're gonna try to take it to the track on Sunday and do a little preliminary testing. I'll still have the slip-ons on it, but we're gonna see what I can do. I haven't been on a stock wheelbase bike in a while. So anyways, we're gonna see if I can still ride one. Foot shifting, no quick shifter, no nothing. Anyways, it's gonna be a test for me. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be quite the challenge. We'll be loading it up and taking it this weekend, have some fun. I'm gonna get it on the dyno and just see what it makes. That way we can see how fast I can go with how much horsepower. And we're gonna take you guys along for the ride with us. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out moremafia.com to get you hoodies, t-shirts, hats, stickers, all the good stuff. As always, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. The channel is growing like crazy. We've picked up almost 3,000 subscribers in the last 30 days. I do appreciate the love. Thanks for your time, guys. Have a good one. See ya.